Hello everyone, and welcome to a unique video concept inspired by Nintendo Fan 721. In honor of football season starting, we're going to be talking about the idea for a Mario American football game. Now, what is the likelihood that I think this actually happens? I'm not so sure. I don't know if Nintendo would push such an American sport on their obviously international audience, but the Super Bowl does have mass appeal, being aired in literally like 200 different countries. So because American football does have some international appeal, I'm going to say that there's at least a chance a game like this happens. And if it does, well, here are some conceptual ideas, Nintendo. So the first thing we must address, what is this game called? Well, let's give it a Nintendo sounding name, Mario Football All-Stars. Secondly, what does the character roster look like, and what positions do each character play? Well, there's where it gets fun. Football is a game full of big, hulking players, and as a result, I'm going to have some rather weird picks for my character roster. But hey, we need people to play on the lines and play linebacker, so that's why there will be a lot of big characters in my game. Someone's got to get after the quarterback. And speaking of quarterbacks, I figure you can choose 4 different ones: Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Daisy. Mario and Luigi are obviously 2 of the main characters, so it makes sense that they play the most important position. And Peach and Daisy are known for their athleticism plus girl power, so we'll make them quarterbacks too. Now, in case you're unfamiliar, running backs are the guys the quarterback hands the ball off to. Running backs tend to be shorter, speedier football players. They have a low center of gravity, which makes them harder to tackle. So with this in mind, our 4 running backs are Toad, Toadette, Bowser Jr., and Diddy Kong. Now we get into wide receivers, which are the guy the quarterback throws the ball to. They tend to be taller, lankier, and can be a bit of a diva sometimes. Well, I know one who perfectly fits this role, Waluigi. Besides that, I guess I have Pauline, Rosalina, and the Hammer Bro filling out the receiving group. Now for tight end, we need someone who's big enough to block, but athletic enough to still run and get catches. Well, I know just the right mad lad for this. Boom Boom. I also think Morton and Roy would serve well as tight ends. Now to complete the offense, we need linemen, so naturally we need some big dudes. So I choose Bowser, Donkey Kong, Wario, King Boo, Dry Bowser, Thwomp, and King Bob-omb. Yeah, those last 2 are weird choices, but we need big characters on our offensive line. So I also think that last group of characters can play the defensive line, so you can mix and match them. If you have any other good ideas of big Mario characters who should be linemen, please comment below. So then we have the linebackers. The linebacker's job is to patrol the middle of the defense and quickly make a tackle. They tend to be on the bigger side too. So you know who I think would make a perfect linebacker? A Chain Chomp. Yeah, I know that's out there, but not really. After all, he was in Mario Tennis Aces. Another interesting linebacker would be the Womp King, who despite being slow, can literally stop a runner right in their tracks. Rounding out the linebacker group, we have Ludwig and Iggy, who are both Koopalings on the bigger side. They're faster than the Chain Chomp and Womp King, but not as strong. Finally, we need some defensive backs to help defend the passing game. So we'll bring out the rest of the Koopalings, Lemmy, Wendy, and Larry, as speedsters who can help with our defend our receivers. But to truly add speed, we need some people who can literally fly. Enter Paragoomba, Paracoopa, and Paradrybones. Yeah, I know that's out there, but again, not really. Remember Double Dash? We're just taking that to a new extreme. Finally, you may be wondering if I've left someone out. Yeah, I definitely have, but don't worry about Yoshi and Birdo because they will serve as our kicker and punter. It wasn't exactly clear to me what role they would serve. They could be good receivers too, especially with Yoshi's flutter jump, but we need someone to kick the ball, and I guess these are just the folks I've selected. Alright, now that I've gone over the character roster / positions, let's go over some game modes. Because Nintendo would probably want to be friendly in introducing the game to folks who aren't familiar with American football, I'd imagine there'd be different difficulties. First, there's the easy mode, and that's 5-on-5 football, where there really isn't any complexity in the plays. You just have 5 players against 5 players, kind of just playing football on the street with your friends. It might even be like 2-hand touch, no tackling. Then there's the medium mode, and that's 7-on-7 football. The plays get a little more advanced. There's like 3 linemen as opposed to just the center snapping the ball, and there's a pass rush after the quarterback now, and I would assume there'd actually be tackling too. Finally, there's the hard mode, which is 11 on 11 football, 11 players against 11. The plays become more advanced as you become more familiar with football concepts. And I'll be real honest with you, I'm a die-hard football fan. I love my New York Giants. I hardly know a thing about how football really works. Like, I know all the rules of the game, but I can't tell you much about football strategy other than the basics. So perhaps Nintendo can guide us through things like cover 2 and zone blitzes, especially when you enter that hard mode of the game. That easy, medium, and hard mode should just be if you want to play a game against the computer. Of course, there should also be multiplayer for when you want to challenge your friend to some Mario football. And of course, you should be able to choose between 5 on 5, 7 on 7, and 11 on 11 in multiplayer. But I think much like with recent Mario sports games, there should be a story mode. I think the way it works is you get to pick any of the quarterbacks I listed, Mario, Peach, Daisy, or Luigi, to lead your team. Then you build your team with the various players I listed, so if you want Waluigi as one of your wide receivers, you can choose him. You learn the football basics, as the story mode is really to teach you how the game works and build your skills. You get XP for all the players on your team, so you get to improve their abilities as you go along. Eventually, you get to a final boss game at Bowser Field. This is your toughest test yet, as you have to face a team quarterbacked by Bowser himself, even though he normally plays on the offensive line. Bowser Field should be a fiery stadium that's hard to play on. That's one of many stadium concepts that should be in the game, but here's a few other ideas I have. First of all, Shy Guy Rink. This was actually an idea I had for a Mario Kart track a long time ago, so now I'm turning it into a stadium idea. As it sounds, Shy Guy Rink is slippery, which can affect your footing. Obviously, it'll be one of the more difficult stadiums to play at. There should be a generic Mario stadium where the grass is green and the crowd is cheering, and there's nothing to really hinder your play. But here's one concept that is literally out of this world. What about Mars Stadium, held on, you guessed it, Mars? The gravity would obviously be completely different. I got this idea from a 5 Points Vids concept, so if you want to check out that video, here it is. To conclude, this wouldn't be a Mario sports game if we didn't have some special moves for all our characters. Now, I don't have time to come up with something special for each and every character, but here's some ideas for the individual positions. Quarterbacks can have the rocket launcher ability, which as it sounds, allows them to uncork a really deep pass. Running backs can have the Quickster ability, which gives them the uncanny ability to run really quick. Wide receivers and tight ends should have a magnet hands ability, so no matter where the ball goes, they catch it. An offensive lineman could have the ability to just push a guy straight into the ground. On defense, defensive linemen should have a similar ability where they just push the guy blocking them straight into the ground and can get right after the quarterback. Linebackers can have sort of this hovering ability, which allows them to get right to the ball carrier on a running play. The risk is it doesn't work on a passing play. Defensive backs should have a special ability to have magnet hands just like wide receivers, but the risk is that only works on a passing play. So if you're on defense, you have to use your special powers strategically. And overall, you have to keep your eye out on which of your players have their special abilities active. It could be multiple players at a time. So overall, I am certainly fascinated by the concept of a Mario Football All-Stars game. What ideas would you have for a Mario American Football concept? What do you think of my ideas? Is it truly crazy to have a Chain Chomp play linebacker, or is that just something they'd excel at? Let me know in the comments. I should have another video up next Saturday. With my college schedule, I plan to keep uploading once a week every Saturday. Bye bye!